Hello YouTube, my name is Nero, and today we have some Overwatch in this week's episode of Dear Nero, which of course is the weekly series here on my channel, where subscribers send me in fan mail and or fan questions, and I do best go and answer them. To cover on the gameplay today, we are playing some competitive Overwatch. That's right, I made a video yesterday on competitive Overwatch on the PTR and the gold weapons, but they just so happened to also put an update in that day, yesterday, for Overwatch, which would add in competitive mode. So everything that we saw in the PTR is now actually in the live version of the game if you play on PC, so that's pretty fun. We only got, how many games were we in there? I think we got like 5 games or so into our placement games for competitive. We won 3 of them, and we lost 2 of them. This is one of the games that we won. We did pretty well, and hopefully you guys will sit back, relax, and enjoy the video while I go over the questions for this week's episode. The first question is going to be coming from Jared on Twitter, who's going to write, Dear Nero, I made these in the shop and was wondering what your favorite perks are in multiplayer or zombies. First and foremost, Jared, those are very cool looking. It's awesome you're able to put those things together. I always admired the stuff people could put together in shop class or art class and stuff, because I never took those classes, so I never actually made anything like that. And it's always just cool when people have a little bit of an artistic ability to them. So very, very nice. What are my favorite perks in multiplayer or zombies? So I suppose in multiplayer, it's always the perks that make me bulkier, right? Stuff that makes it so it's not as easy to kill me. Mainly Flak Jacket and Tac Mask. Those are the perks I run in every single game. I tried to run at least the equivalent of those perks in every single game where they're actually there and they're actually useful. Of course, like Call of Duty World at War, for example, Flak Jacket in that game was useless, and you know there was no version of it in like Modern Warfare 2 aside from, what was that stupid thing in Modern Warfare 2? Blast Shield, a piece of equipment. It was just terrible. But Black Ops 1 and on, Flak Jacket and Tac Mask was my favorite perks in Call of Duty by far. And for zombies, Jug obviously is the best one. So the perks I always try to get the quickest would be Jug first, obviously, because it's Jug. You kind of need that for zombies. And then Double Tap 2.0. So Double Tap after Black Ops 2, which would make it so you basically shoot an extra bullet for free. It doesn't actually cost anything. Definitely, those are the best perks in zombies, in my opinion. I'm not a big fan of like PhD Flopper and the other ones. Just if I have Jug and I have Double Tap, I'm probably pretty good. I can live without having Sleight Hand or anything like that. I can live without Stamina Up and stuff like that, or Quick Revive. But if I have Jug and Double Tap 2.0 anyway, I'm good. The next question is going to be coming in on YouTube. He's going to be writing, Dear Nero, lately I've been going back and watching your Minecraft Hardcore Survival series you did with SP2Can back in the day. I was wondering if you would consider reviving the series on PC or on the Xbox One. It was one of my favorite series that you've ever made, and I would love to see it return, from Zach in North Carolina. Zach, I don't know. Maybe someday we'll go back to that. Minecraft's a tricky game, right? It's a game that's very fun to play. It's one of those things, if you actually just boot it up and run around and start playing, you're probably going to have fun. There's a reason why even to this day it's one of the most successful games out there. Like, people are still playing it. There's channels that are dedicated to it. It's just such a popular game. For me, Minecraft is only fun if I'm doing hardcore survival stuff. I just get bored if I'm in creative. It's not interesting to me if I have unlimited blocks and stuff like that. For me, hardcore survival is how I like to do it. And what that means is you play basically on hardcore mode, which means, you know, 1 death and you're done. I definitely like that aspect of it a lot. I like the survival aspect of it too. Like, you know, you don't automatically regen your health. You have to actually eat and stuff like that. So it's always fun for me whenever I play Minecraft, where you know, you set off into the world, you build your little camp, you start up your farm, and you brave the caves, so you go down there and start getting some ore and stuff like that to make your armor and stuff. It's just interesting for me. So if I were to go back and play Minecraft, it would be doing that, and probably be a series that I would do with a friend or something like that, similar to what we did back in the day with my friend Toucan on the Xbox 360, I think is where we did it. Do I have any immediate plans to go back? No, but I definitely won't discredit it from, you know, being a possibility in the future. I'm just saying that if I were to go back to play Minecraft, it would be hardcore survival. Just at this point in time, I really have no motivation to really go back and play Minecraft. I'm already playing so many games right now that it's like adding in one more seems kind of silly to me right now. But it's definitely a fun game, and I would not be opposed to having a series like that in the future. We'll have to see. The next question, he is going to write, Dear Nero, what is your favorite part of the video making process, like getting gameplay, creating ideas, doing the commentary, or etc.? Thanks, Harry from Massachusetts. So Harry, my favorite part of the video making process, and keep in mind, I'm over 3,000 videos in at this point, would probably be seeing it all come together, right? You have your gameplay, you have your idea, you have all that stuff, right? But actually putting it together into a video and then having the video be finished, right? Being done with the video, being able to be proud of it and upload to people, and then seeing people give positive feedback on the video. That's my favorite part of the video making process, is actually seeing it all come together. Because before you start editing it all together and stuff, it's just a bunch of pieces, all pieces of a puzzle that you have to put together. And then once they're all together, it actually becomes something entertaining, something watchable that people will enjoy. And and that's my favorite part of the video making process. Getting gameplay, sure, I mean, that's fun. It's playing video games. Coming up with ideas is probably the worst part, honestly, because it's fun when you come up with an idea and you can actually execute upon it, but it just sometimes coming up with those ideas is difficult, so that's probably my least favorite part of the creative process. Although I have found in my time here on YouTube that the creative process can at times be self-sustaining. If you start writing or if you start working on a video project or an idea, typically that's going to spawn other video ideas if you're just trying to really pay attention to it and you're really thinking about it critically. So it can definitely be self-sustaining if you have the right ideas and you're doing all the right things, but it definitely can still be difficult to come up with ideas. So that's one of my least favorite aspects of it. Doing the commentary, I mean, it's talking into a microphone or something really big to me anyway. So getting gameplay is probably one of the best features, but I would definitely say the best part is seeing it all come together at the end and then seeing people give positive feedback on something that you created basically from scratch. The next question, he is going to write, Dear Nero, last week I volunteered at a kids camp and almost all the kids at one point or another were talking about their favorite YouTubers. Do you think that YouTube has grown to the point that the younger generation watches it more than TV? Michael from the Music City. First and foremost, Michael, I want to thank you for submitting your questions. Always a pleasure having you on the show. You send in amazing questions every single week, but the question this week is, do I think YouTube's grown to the point that the younger generation watches it more than they watch television? I can't say that for sure. It definitely goes on a case-by-case basis. It depends on the house they grew up in, the kind of parents they have, so on and so forth, but definitely the generation that kids these days are growing up in is definitely a very fun and unique generation. It's super interesting to look at from the outside looking in because I'm 24 years old, right? So a lot of people my age have children. Like, I'm not good at keeping up with people. I don't keep in touch with a lot of people I went to high school with or anything like that. So when I look up these people on Facebook just to see what happened to them, right? I think a lot of people my age are like, whatever happened to this guy? Whatever happened to this guy? Because my parents got divorced when I was in 7th grade going into 8th grade. So I went to school with all these people, then I moved to a new school. So I have like 2 schools worth of people that I'm like looking up to see whatever happened to these guys. And every time I look up to these people, a guy or girl, whatever, it's like, okay, kid, 2 kids, married, divorced, kid. It's like everyone like has children now. They're 24 years old. Like, we're adults now. It's weird. I don't quite feel like an adult because I do YouTube and play video games all the time. I don't go to a normal 9-to-5 job or anything like that, but it is, everyone my age is having kids, and their kids are growing up in this generation where they're not growing up with things that I grew up with, which is the same thing I'm sure that my parents felt and your parents felt when we were growing up initially. They were thinking, wow, when I was their age, I didn't have a Game Boy, I didn't have a television, I didn't have a Sega or a PlayStation or an Xbox or any of this stuff. They're like, wow, this is just such a weird generation, all these gaming things and all these electronics that our kids are now growing up with. Whereas you look at people my age, you look at their kids, and these guys are growing up with iPads. Like, there's 3-year-olds that are playing the iPad. There's 3-year-olds playing with Kindles and stuff like that. It's part of what they're growing up with, and I can't judge because I did the same thing but with different stuff. Game Boys and Segas and stuff like that. It's so odd. And you're right, people are growing up watching YouTube. They're growing up watching live streamers, and that's also very odd. You say that you were volunteering at what seems like a kid's summer camp, right? We have one of those around here actually. I never volunteered there, but I was a Boy Scout growing up, so I went to that stuff a lot growing up. And kids there are talking about their favorite YouTubers. I imagine that's something that happens a lot at these summer camps. I imagine, again, I'm not like an elementary school teacher or anything, but I imagine at elementary schools and at recess and stuff like that, kids are growing up talking about their favorite YouTubers outside of recess. They're talking about PewDiePie. They're talking about Stampy. They're talking about all these guys, right? It's a weird time to be in this space as a YouTuber or a live streamer or what have you, because kids are growing up with this stuff. And that's kind of a good thing to me, because it's like that means there's going to be like a future to YouTube, there's a future to Twitch. But it's just so odd that kids are growing up watching this stuff instead of television, or at least some kids are growing up watching YouTube and Twitch and stuff like that instead of television, or more so than television. And it's also weird that kids are also growing up with the aspiration that they're going to be a YouTuber, they're going to be a live streamer and stuff like that, when just 6 years ago there was only a handful of people that actually make a living doing this. Now a lot of people can make a living doing this. It's just such a weird space that we're in right now. But yeah, definitely, to go back to your question, I definitely think some kids grow up watching more YouTube than they do television, and that's absurd to me. The next question, he's going to write, Dear Nero, on one of your Dear Neros, a fan asked you along the lines of what kind of movie do you like? You went on to say Enemy at the Gates, and you said if you get a chance, watch it. I did, and it is now one of my favorite films. I was wondering if you have any more suggestions. Keep up the great work. Longtime fan, Tyler from Scotland. So Tyler, I'm very happy you decided to check out Enemy at the Gates. Now, I should preface this by saying I'm not a big movie guy. I don't watch a lot of movies. I don't. Okay, so a movie I'm going to recommend here. This is the reason why I'm laughing. This is funny to me. So I went to the movies relatively recently to watch the Warcraft movie. I actually went and watched it twice because I am a giant Blizzard nerd. I love all things Warcraft, all things Blizzard. Really, I love all the Blizzard games. I may make a video in the future talking about how Blizzard is pure evil, but I love all of Blizzard's games. They are so good. And so, as a huge Warcraft nerd, I went and watched the Warcraft movie, and I watched it twice because I wanted to pick up all the little nuances of the movie and stuff like that. And actually, it was actually really cool because when I went and watched it the second time, there was nobody there in the theater at all. So I sat in the dead center of the theater just by myself watching this movie, and it was so cool because I was, again, in the movie theater by myself. It's like watching at home, but at a movie theater. And occasionally this guy would like come in from the door on the right and like poke his head up just to make sure that I'm still there, because I'm literally the only person that bought a ticket for that particular showing. And and he kept like poking his head up and would just, oh, he's still there. Just make sure, like, one, that I'm actually there, and two, probably that I wasn't doing anything I shouldn't have been doing because I was like the only one there. But still, it was so cool. So I went and watched the Warcraft movie relatively recently, and I say that that's funny because the only other movie that I've seen recently was the Friday the 13th movie that came out in 2009. So that was the first time I went to the movie theater since 2009. It's been about 7 years. I don't go to watch new movies. I don't watch a lot of movies like on TV or anything like that. I'm just not a movie guy whatsoever. Wait, did I go see the old Halloween movie with the Rob Zombie one? I may have actually watched that one in theaters. I can't quite remember, but I'm not a huge movie guy. That's what I'm saying here. So I don't have a ton of movie recommendations for you. Enemy at the Gate is something that I watched a long time ago, and it's a fantastic movie. If you guys haven't seen it, it follows Russian sniper Vasily Zaitsev through World War II, specifically through Stalingrad. It's a fantastic movie. I enjoy it. But again, my opinion doesn't actually hold a lot of weight when it comes to movies because I don't watch movies. But another movie thing that I can recommend if you guys do want to check it out would be the Boondock Saints and Boondock Saints 2. I think both those movies are absolutely fantastic. They actually star Norman Reedus as kind of one of the two brothers. And of course, Norman Reedus is the guy that plays Daryl in The Walking Dead. So it was kind of weird for me because I'd watched Boondock Saints like so long ago, right? And I love both those movies. I'm hoping for a third. And so I watched those movies, and then when I started watching The Walking Dead, I saw Norman Reedus in there. I'm like, hey, I know that guy, you know. But yeah, so those movies are actually pretty good. I'd recommend them. They're cult classics. Like, they have a cult following behind them. Like, a lot of people that actually have seen those movies absolutely adore them, so you guys may as well. And aside from that, our newer movie, I know it's gotten a lot of bad reviews, but I personally love the Warcraft movie. And so if you guys maybe want to take that recommendation, take from it what you will. But again, I'm a huge Warcraft nerd, so chances are I was going to love it anyway. The reviews that are coming in for that movie basically say that if you're not a fan of Warcraft, it's kind of hard to follow. And I can understand that, but just, it's a fun movie to watch. Lots of cool stuff happening for $10, which is what it costs in my relatively local theater. I think it's worth it. So definitely give that a look. The next question, he is going to write, Dear Nero, why did you discontinue Sunday Sit-Downs, and will you be bringing it back? Long time, no question, Albert from Iceland. So, Albert, I did cancel that series, and I canceled it in a really subtle way, I suppose, and it was in the video description, which nobody ever reads, by the way. What's the point of me filling out a video description since nobody ever reads the thing? But yeah, it was in the video description of the fourth and final episode of Sunday Sit-Downs, which was a weekly series where I would sit down every Sunday and just chat about whatever, chat about my week, chat about things that are going on, and people seem to enjoy it. But really, it was a series that I think wasn't really going anywhere. It was kind of like Dear Nero, but just on Sundays, where it wasn't really about questions. It was just me talking about stuff that happened during the week. And the reason why I stopped it was because just I don't have that interesting of a life, really. You see a lot of these YouTubers with millions of subs doing daily vlogs and stuff like that, and sure, it's interesting watching them do their thing because these guys are literally millionaires, like out there doing things like, oh, this is my new car, this is me in New York City, this is me, you know, going to this event, this is me doing this. Like, a lot of it is just fun and interesting stuff that they're doing in their mansions and stuff like that. I rent a house, I drive an Explorer, I basically sit at my desk all day playing video games and making YouTube videos. Like, I don't do a lot of things, so I don't have like a very interesting life to lead, and so I don't have a very interesting life to at least to tell stories of in a series where I sit there and tell stories about my week, because I don't usually do a whole lot of things, right? So like, oh, hey, so guys, today was pretty awesome. So I played a lot of Heroes of the Storm, I made a couple of YouTube videos, and then I went for a walk. Yeah, and then when I was done with my walk, I went and got Subway. Yeah, it was a steak and cheese with pepper jack cheese and a little bit of lettuce on there and ranch, and I got a little bit of spinach on there as well because it's very healthy. I like spinach; it's very good for you. And so that was my day. And yeah, so like, it's just, I don't have a very interesting life, really. I suppose, at least one that's not worthy of telling stories. I play a lot of video games, so. Yeah, if I was one of those guys, and I don't mean to poke fun or like, you know, try and say they didn't earn this or anything. I'm just saying, like, those guys have a lot more resources available to them to have interesting lives, and just me, it's just like, I'm Nero, I guess. I play video games. So, the next question, he's going to write, Dear Nero, I've got a Borderlands question to bounce off of you. So, I've gotten pretty bored with Borderlands 2, considering it's 4 years old and I've farmed countless hours. So, I've realized I've never even tried making a Krieg or a Gage. And I was wondering which one you think I should invest time into. Bloodsplosion seems awesome to mess around with, but stacking Anarchy and doing ridiculous damage seems fun too. Thanks and keep up the great work. Grayson from Georgia. So Grayson, a Borderlands question. It's always fun to have Borderlands questions here on Dear Nero. So which one do I think you should go with? It's tough for me. I'm biased. I'm super biased in this respect. I play Krieg. Krieg is my main character in Borderlands 2. My first ever character was Zero, and I played a lot of Axton as well, but by far the most playtime I have would be Krieg. Krieg is my guy. I love playing as Krieg. He's a psycho. He has an accent. Game, it's all about looting guns. He runs around and melees people. It's super, super fun. Bloodsplosion can be very fun as a whole. Bloodsplosion is basically your only way of killing big raid bosses, because Krieg, while he can do good damage, like, he is by far and beyond, in my opinion anyway, the best character to level with or to farm smaller bosses, right? Picture like Scorch and stuff like that, right? He's pretty good for farming like these smaller bosses and stuff, but he's not very good at like big bosses, raid bosses, Terramorphous and stuff like that. He isn't very great, whereas you compare that to, like, I don't know, like a Zero with Boar, or you compare that with, I don't know, like anybody using a B shield, for example, right? So Krieg is definitely not that great against actual proper raid bosses, especially when soloing, but Bloodsplosion is the way that you can actually work around that. I've never played as Gage. I've never really tried her. My friend Foxdown played as her, and he liked it for the most part, but she's definitely pretty confusing to play right. I think she's the most difficult character to actually get down right to do really good damage with. So if I had to give you a recommendation, I would say Krieg, because that's my main character, and I've never played the other one. So I have a lot of fun with Krieg, and I actually have a guide on my Let's Play channel as to how to play Krieg for level 50, level 61, as well as level 72. I give you guys a build. It's actually, I think, my most popular video on that channel, or it's one of my most popular videos on the channel. It's got several 100,000 views at this point, so people seem to like it, and hopefully you will as well if you decide to go over to my Let's Play channel, youtube.com/NerosLet'sPlays, and check out that video if you're interested in playing Krieg in Borderlands 2. The next question, he's going to write, Dear Nero, I noticed that you have been playing Overwatch a lot recently. I got the game a few days ago, and I'm really enjoying it. I would like to know what your favorite hero in Overwatch is. Mine is definitely Tracer. I have my most time with her, and she is an awesome character. Sean from Pennsylvania. So Sean, Tracer is a lot of fun. My most played character would be Junkrat, and I definitely have a lot of cool guides on my YouTube channel if you guys want to check that out, by the way. I'm just plugging all my videos here, but I do guides on the different heroes in Overwatch. I did one on Junkrat. He is my main. I play more Junkrat than any other hero, but my next most played heroes, heck, I can just show you guys right here on your screen. So this is like my most recent updated stats. Like, I took that last night right before I got off. You see Junkrat's up there, Roadhog, Mercy. I have a kind of I guess I spread it out a little bit. I don't have like a ridiculous amount of time with one character as compared to others. Like, there's people I know that have like 22 hours on one character, then 2 hours on their next most played character. So I definitely like to try out a bunch of different heroes and stuff like that. But Junkrat's my favorite, Roadhog's my second, and Mercy's up there because nobody ever wants to heal in Overwatch, so I usually end up doing it, and so I play her a lot as well as a bit of Lucio and stuff like that. But yeah, definitely, I enjoy Overwatch. It's a lot of fun. That's why Dear Nero always seems to have Overwatch gameplay. We're playing Overwatch competitive right here. It's a really fun game, and people are always asking me, Nero, is it good? Is it worth it? It's like, well, I can't answer that question really for you, but I really enjoy it, so chances are you may as well. It's not like Call of Duty, though. It's a lot different, so maybe if that's something, like if you're a guy that only plays Call of Duty, maybe you won't like it as much, but definitely, I say give it a shot if you can afford to give it a shot, or rent it. Best of all, just rent it, especially if you like play on console. Give it a shot, see if you like it. The next question, he's going to write, Dear Nero, do you think that Black Ops 3 pick 10 system should be made to pick 11, because in Black Ops 2, you had a combat knife as your secondary when you had nothing there, but that's not the case in Black Ops 3. I know it's one slot, but still, PS, can you explain how monetization works on YouTube and how MCNs play a part in it? That's kind of a big question for a PS. I'm a little confused. I was wondering if somebody with first-hand experience would explain better about the general process. PPS, congratulations on Dear Nero episode 200. I've been a fan since Ghost. Thanks, Shariar from Pakistan. Or did I pronounce that right? Probably not. I'm terrible with names. But the first part of your question here is, do I think the Black Ops 3 pick 10 system should be made pick 11? I don't. I like the system better in Black Ops 3 because having a combat knife as your secondary is a little bit too good, really, if you think about it. Because if we had combat knives by default as a secondary in Black Ops 3, nobody would ever consider actually running a secondary, because why would you? You have a knife. But since we have nothing there and you basically pull out your fist and you have to hit somebody twice, to melee them twice to kill them, then people actually maybe want to consider actually having a secondary, because having fists is really terrible. Now, a lot of people don't have secondaries. That's understandable. You just pick up another weapon. But still, I think it's better when you don't have a knife, because that makes it so people want to actually start using secondaries, because secondaries in Call of Duty are something that people really, that's like one of the first things to go when they implemented like a pick 10 system. And one of the first things people did was like, all right, well, I don't need my pistol. I don't need my grenades. I don't need this, that, or the other. I'm just going to have a gun with a bazillion attachments and a bunch of perks, right? So I like it better this way because it adds a little bit more variety to the game. And the other part of your question is, can you explain how monetization works on YouTube and how MCNs play a part in it? So sit down and relax. We're about to talk about YouTube stuff. So an MCN is a network, multi-channel network. And if you don't know what that is, picture Machinima or Full Screen. Back in the day, Yoush, which rest in peace. Actually, don't rest in peace. I hated Yoush. Back in the day, Yoush was a network, right? This was before my channel was ever partnered with anybody. I partnered with Machinima in 2011, and this is the only network I've ever actually been a part of. But before I applied for Machinima, I actually applied for Yoush, which was a smaller network where I thought I had a better chance. They denied me. They didn't think my channel was big enough, and just as kind of like a part of my story, I suppose, of coming up on YouTube, eventually, once I got partnered with Machinima, my channel became bigger than the actual Yoush channel, and then Yoush kind of like just fell apart, right? So it's just kind of a cool little story for me. It's like this network that didn't think I was good enough, I became bigger than that network. I thought that was a really cool thing. So those are MCNs, multi-channel networks. Picture Machinima, Full Screen. You probably heard of these people before, right? Back in the day, people would actually get paid a flat CPM. Now, what CPM means is basically you get paid X amount of money per 1,000 views on your channel. And of course, if you were a bigger channel, you get a higher CPM. But the average that most people got back in the day that I was aware of anyway was like a $2 CPM. Now, of course, again, bigger channels had higher CPMs, but a lot of people, like the average channel could score like a $2 CPM, which means you would earn $2 per 1,000 views on your channel. So if you got a 10,000 view video, you'd earn $20 on it, right? This was good and bad. So how it works now is you actually get paid based upon the ads that are on your videos and what you guys actually earn off of your videos, which is a lot better if you ask me, because back in the day, since you were guaranteed that flat CPM of $2 per 1,000 views, at times your videos may be blowing up in terms of ad revenue, especially around November, December, like the holiday season, right? You may be earning a lot more than that on your videos, but your network's not paying you that money. They're paying you what you agreed to in your contract, and they're just raking it in. Whereas there's other times in the year where your videos are earning nothing ad-wise, and then you're guaranteed that flat rate, and that flat rate is good because you're earning more than you actually are, and then your network's taking a loss. So it was a good system and a bad system at the same time. How YouTube works nowadays is you just get paid based upon, or at least most networks, most deals I've ever seen, you get paid based upon what your channel actually earns, which is a lot better in my own personal opinion, and your multi-channel network is going to take a percentage of that based upon the contract that you have written up, right? So what they're actually taking that percentage for is copyright protection and helping you get basically allowing you to post stuff. Like a lot of people wonder, like, Nero, how come you're allowed to post, Call of Duty trailers on your channel, but I get copyright strike? Well, that's because I'm part of Machinima. They also provide me copyright protection. Like if some random thing flags down my video for some reason, I can say, hey, Machinima, deal with that. Then they do. It's good, right? So I can't tell you guys my split, but most channels out, the lowest I've ever seen is like a 60-40 split in favor of the YouTuber. That's like when you're just starting out. Then it gets better and better, 70-30, 80-20, 90-10. I've seen and heard of people getting 95-5, stuff like that. It really depends on the network, and it depends on how good your channel actually is. Again, I can't tell you what my percentage is, but rest assured I'm doing just fine. And so yeah, that's basically how it works nowadays. You want to partner with a network because they can give you proper copyright protection. Do not partner with some random off nobody network like Social Blade or any of these other small networks that not a lot of big YouTubers are partnering with. Partner with somebody like Machinima, partner with somebody like Full Screen, partner with these people that actually give you proper copyright protection, and that they'll actually assign you a talent manager, which I have that. I have a talent manager, and I basically, it's weird calling myself talent, right? But I can be like, hey, I got this video that's got like a random third-party claim for like 2 seconds worth of song that's used in it. Can we work on that? And they say yes. Or, hey, I have this problem with my taxes. Can you help me out with that? And they do. It's just, it's nice. I love Machinima. It's weird. Everyone says, oh, I hate Machinima. They have all these horror stories. Machinima's been nothing but great to me. I've never had any problems with Machinima whatsoever. I have the best deal that I could possibly get. I've looked on all these different networks. I have the best deal I could possibly get. I have top-notch copyright protection, and I have people that I can just, they're just a Skype notification away of getting a hold of them. I love Machinima, and I recommend them to anybody that's looking to start a YouTube channel. But ladies and gentlemen, that is going to conclude this week's episode of Dear Nero. I hope you guys all enjoyed it. If you did, please drop me a rating. And of course, if you guys would like to submit your questions for the next episode of Dear Nero, simply send me a personal message here on YouTube. Go to my YouTube channel, go to the box section, and from there, you will find a send a message button, or alternatively, you can go to my Twitter at NeroTweets and tweet me using hashtag Dear Nero. Either way works, but I'll go through the questions next week like I always do, and you may or may not be featured featured on the next episode of Dear Nero. I hope you guys all enjoyed the video. Drop me a rating. Hope you guys all have a wonderful day.